Let's talk about Black Box. Now, this is one of the 3 or 4 Blumhouse Pictures movies that are available on Amazon Prime. And they were released kind of in time for Halloween, I think. It was more of a Halloween timing for the releases. What's interesting here is, like, I've heard some stuff about The Lie. Now, there's an interesting twist in The Lie, I think. The KFC from Barstool was tweeting about it. I have not... But I ended up, doing what I always do. I was like, all right, I'm not going based on whatever the fuck the IMDb rating is, or whatever the hell the stars are on Amazon Prime Video. Because to me, I've been burned by that before. Where it's like, holy shit, this has like 500 ratings of 4.5 stars. And then you watch it and you're like, this is a piece of shit. So I don't go off that. So I went off Rotten Tomatoes and I was like, okay, it's got a fresh rating from critics. That doesn't mean a whole lot, but the audiences do like it. It's not rotten according to audiences. And so when both audience and critics line up on that, I'm like, all right, time to give it a shot. I looked at the other 3 and it's like, one has good from critics, the other one's not rotten. Rotten one was both rotten. I was like, all right, let's just go Black Box and call it a day. So this is not rated. Hour and 40 minutes long. Horror mystery Sci-Fi came out October 6th. Synopsis is, after losing his wife and his memory in a car accident, a single father undergoes an agonizing experimental treatment that causes him to question who he really is. Ooh. And the cast, I don't know that there are too many names that you would recognize in the cast, but Phylicia Rashad, a.k.a. Clair Huxtable from The Cosby Show. Yeah, she's in it. I have not seen Phylicia Rashad probably since The Cosby Show ended. And I've been wondering what the hell she's been up to, but apparently she's been doing, I checked out her IMDb. She's been staying active. She's also in Creed, which I forgot. I don't know if she's in the first Creed, but she's in Creed 2. And then I guess Creed 3 is in the works and she'll be in that as well as Marianne Creed, which, yeah. Yeah, because she was, yeah. Was she in, yeah, she was in the previous Rockies as Apollo's wife, right? Maybe? I don't know. And you don't recognize this name, but there are 2 other actors I want to call out. Because Mamoudou Athie, butchered it, plays Nolan, who's like the male lead. He's from The Get Down, Patty Cakes. He was the kind of like emo, heavy metal, alt punk character in Patty Cakes. Have you ever seen that? I mean, you don't... That's not, I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it. There's some good performances in it, but it's just kind of like, I didn't need to watch it. And then he's going to be in the Jurassic World Dominion sequel, which I don't even know when the hell that's coming out. I think it was supposed to come out this past summer, right? No, next summer. Phylicia Rashad is Lillian, the doctor. And then Tosin Morohunfola. Oh boy. Tosin Morohunfola. No way. That's no. Morohunfola. Nope. Plays Gary, who's Nolan's brother. Tosin has been in The Shy and Black Lightning. So, and I guess Mamoudou Athie was in something else too. He might have been in Flash, something like that. What's interesting about this movie is it's not from Blumhouse, like, film production company, which I thought was interesting. It's from the Blumhouse television production unit, even though it's a movie. So my thought was, I guess the thinking there is like it was supposed to be developed into all of these movies that hit Amazon Prime were supposed to be like pilots for a series, maybe? It's kind of weird. The critics' consensus from Rotten Tomatoes, an intriguing debut for writer-director Emmanuel Osul Kafour. Black Box compensates for a lack of surprises with strong performances and an emotionally rewarding story. I don't know about lack of surprises. I mean, it kept me guessing for pretty much all the way through 2 acts. I'll say that. I mean, there was a point where you start to put 2 and 2 together, but it's like, if you could have called that in the first act, kudos, my man. Although looking back, now that I've seen it, that for one of the first scenes, you're like, if you rewatch it now, you're like, they were telling us all along. 74% of critics gave it a favorable review with an average rating of 6.4 out of 10. And then the 63% of the audience gave it a favorable review with a 3.6 out of 5 average rating. Oh boy. I don't know. I like this movie, but I understand there was a lot of criticism around certain aspects of it, which I can see. So I would put it, yeah. I mean, typical Neal. I split it right down the middle, I think. A little bit of a lower rating than Save Yourselves, but still worth a watch. One critic said, there's almost a comatose nature to the film itself. I just wanted to electrify and wake it up. Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with the male lead's performance, his delivery, how he spoke, how he acted. It felt very I don't know, concussed if is the appropriate word, because he actually was like brain dead from the car accident. But I mean, you even question that at one point in the movie. You're like, was this dude even in a car accident? Is this all a dream? I used to read Word Up magazine, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, but like maybe that was intentional, because maybe he's trying to act like foggy and out of it, because he is fogged and out of it. He's lost his fucking memory. So yeah, he is kind of sleepwalking through life, because he shouldn't be alive. He was brain dead. So it's got to take a toll on you. But I guess these critics, man, they out here hating. It brings some devilish ingenuity to its variations on Memento and other Who Am I thrillers, and it adds to that something more rare, a genuinely emotional potency. I agree with that. I'm a huge fan of Memento, so I was drawn to that, and a lot of critics drew comparisons to Memento. They also drew comparisons to Get Out. This movie is like a Get Out clone, except it can't even get that right. It's so boring, and the main character is like a goddamn zombie. Oh, come on now. That's a little harsh. I definitely got Get Out vibes when Nolan goes to Dr. Brooks, Phylicia Rashad, and is hypnotized. Definitely got Get Out vibes from that. I was thinking, oh my God, how is this going to play into that? Like, we get to actually see, like in Get Out, when he's hypnotized, we only get to see that, I feel like, for a brief amount of time, if I'm not mistaken. Although it was a little bit extended towards the end. But this felt like, okay, if we're going to go that route, maybe we get to see more of what that would have looked like in Get Out. This kind of felt like a spiritual successor to Get Out. It's nowhere near as good, and doesn't surprise me the way that did, but it tells a very good story led by some creepy imagery and really strong acting. Yeah, I mean, you know, okay, it's not on Get Out's level, but it still kept me tuned in, and I want to see it through to the end. And the creepy imagery, yeah, I mean, it was mostly just the fucking thing that crawls out with the bone crunching. I mean, it was just like, dude, the bone crunching. Let me tell you about bone crunching. I was walking the other night, Tuesday night. I was hurriedly walking from the living room to the kitchen, and somehow, I don't even know how this is possible, completely full-on Graham Ganode the corner of the island. Just like kicked it full force in my bare feet. And I was like, I just broke my foot. Like it took me a good 10 minutes to fucking cool down, because I was just like, it's like that when Peter falls and bumps his knee and he's holding his knee. He's like, oh, that was me. Except it was my toe. I thought I broke it. It's the worst I've ever stubbed my toe. Next morning I woke up and it was just like, it looked like Mike Tyson had knocked it out. It was just like, oof. It was just a one toe too. Looked like it was just purple and swollen. It was disgusting. I've taken a picture of it and I'm tempted to send it out just to see how many people will unfollow me. But yeah, the bone crunching creature that keeps popping up everywhere. Boo. It was reminiscent of, I want to say, The Ring or The Grudge. I think it was The Ring. It has the feel of Get Out to it, for sure. The story itself is interesting enough to keep you intrigued, though the writing lets it down at times, and the bone crunching is a put off after you figure out what's happening. Okay, there's enough about it to keep you hooked once you've experienced the twist, and you'll be pleased you carried on until the end. Facts. Hashtag facts. By no means a masterful directorial debut, but Emmanuel Assil Kafour knows what he's about and does well at his first feature length. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more from him, for sure. I don't think it was that bad. You know, there were some moments where it's like, okay, this doesn't feel like a feature film. It feels like it's slowly like regressing or diving back into like B-movie-ish type area, but it never fully got there. The kid, first of all, his kid, Ava, one way you can put me off on movies like this is to have a kid that is precocious as fuck. And it seems like every movie we have now, there's just a kid who's precocious as fuck. It's like, can we just have a dumb kid for once? Can we just have a stupid kid doing kid stuff and not being, you know, this overly adult-like kid? And I get it. The car accident left her without the mother. The mother was kind of like kept them all together and kept the house in tip-top shape, and the dad has lost his memory, so he's not contributing and he's not making dinner and picking her up, and so she has to become an adult and is forced to grow beyond her years. I get it. But it doesn't mean you have to make her sound like a fucking Harvard professor, dude. She can still act and say things like a kid, but still do adult things just in a kid way. I just can you just pump the brakes on that? I get so upset. That happens in commercials a lot, where it's like the fucking commercials where it's like, well, you could save 15%. All right, kid, you don't even know what an STD feels like. That was one of my jokes in stand-up, and it never hit. And you can see why. I would say I haven't seen the other Blumhouse productions. Nocturne, I think it was the other one. The Lie. And there was one more. I think it was like Evil Eye was the third one. It was the other three. The Lie, just because of what everyone's saying, is like maybe it's just worth, watching, knowing that's going to suck, but it's going to be so ridiculous, the twist, that it might be worth like checking out when you got nothing else to do. Nocturne and even Evil Eye I haven't heard much about. Yeah, so that's Black Box. Give it a shot. I loved it. I'll say it. I really liked it. I won't say I loved it. I'm sorry. I take it back. Ugh. So that's movies.